The next WuDang hand weapon or training drill we're going to take a look at is going to be the axe. The first movement for the axe is going to be an inside cut to neg 1. So your hands are going to start low, so you get the initial movement where you come over and you strike into pericardium 6 on both arms. So it's nice and easy. So it will happen like your hands are low and you just drop them in here. The movement for the form is to come up with the right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. Now you see that his arms are on the outside. I'm going to strike into his abdomen here, so straight into the diaphragm. And now it's at this point that Dan's going to swing his arms around and chop my arms out. And then he goes up on both sides, down on both sides. You really want to be training these applications just one side at a time, simply because the neck chops, if you drag your fingers up and outwards, you are going to completely miss the target, which is good for training, bad for practice. Even if you get the first movement and you slam both neg 1 points here, you can use pads so you can actually find those lines. When you cut up with the right hand or the left hand, you want to cut across center line and come right to the other side of the neck. And the reason being, that movement is going to do damage, whereas that movement is just going to annoy them. We'll look at this from just a single arm perspective, and then obviously it makes a little bit more sense. If you're going to get a low shot, it can be an uppercut to the body or anything low hook. All you have to do is block that line off. And with him punching forwards, he's going to be adding at least half the amount of energy that needs to really damage that point. So you just need to make sure that you're conditioned and strong in this place. Now, as I cut up, obviously in the form we go up and outwards, but what we need to do is we need to circle round and locate the opposite side of the neck. When that uppercut comes in, my first response is just to cover. We're not worrying about this hand at the moment because we're just thinking about the axe drill. Now my movement is going to strike straight up and I'm going to go to the opposite side of the neck. I cut down the side of the neck, and then my last movement, as I come past back in front of the chest, I can then strike straight down into that liver 13, liver 14 point. The tools that you learn from this, first of all, picking up that low line and you're going to cut it off. You're then going to strike up and locate that other side of the neck, which is something you can do even if he throws that punch in. So if that comes in low and you cut it off, he throws that one to my head, I can pick that one up and I can strike up either to his neck or to his face, anywhere here. This allows me a very small transition, and then I just slam into the other side of his head or his neck. Just because we're moving on that reverse line, the hand's going to draw back in towards the body. And then from here, it's a very short range slam straight into liver 14. Again, if he's a little bit further turned, it'll be liver 13 round on the side. These aren't supposed to be used all together, but there are certain aspects of this that work very well on their own. Because of the way we want to train the body mechanics is going to be both sides at the same time, but this is going to be something that you can use on a single side, and that's going to make it more usable in a self-defense situation. We're going to start in a power stance exactly the same way that we started the others. Right foot's going to be turned in. We're going to start with the hands down in front of the dantian. The hands are going to travel out, and then we're going to cut from the inside and knock those hands outwards. We're going to go right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand. Now we're chambered with the elbows squeezed in, and we generate the power by driving the palms down in towards the pelvis. This is a slightly different type of power. We're going to be sitting the weight backwards as we strike the hands forwards. Okay, so I'm just going to use Ken here to show you the exact points that you're striking when you're doing the drills. We're going to circle the hands out and we're going to chop to the inside of the arm. So we're going to strike towards neg 1 again, so pericardium 6. This is going to be your main setup point when you're striking the body, because that's going to really kind of affect all the other meridians when you strike further up. So we're going to go for pericardium 6 as we strike up. Again, as I mentioned, we're going to cross that center line. 1, 2, as the hands raise. As we come down, we just strike the same thing on the reverse movement. So we're going to cut down into stomach 9, down into stomach 9, and then we reset the position as the hands draw back to center. We're going to sit the weight back as we thrust the arms out forwards. Again, we hit the same problem when we're striking to the body. The position is sound when we work in the theory and solo practice because the hands just sit in front of the body and they balance really nicely. This is very important for Qigong. When it comes to doing your applications for self-defense, if you were to strike to the head and then strike to the body, you want to be crossing that center line because you can cross the center line and generate that power. If you stick to the same side, if you strike with your hand forward straight into the abdomen, you're going to catch your fingers and you're going to bend your wrist through. I want to come around and I want to strike in here. So, that way. But for the purpose of the form, because we're not making contact, we're just working with the arms, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the WuDang axe is another prime example of where we see the WuDang hand weapons directly inserted into the Bagua forms to teach you these fighting fundamentals and also the body mechanics that are required to generate the power. In the Bagua lion form, we have section 6. We start off in lion rolls the ball, we step around and we fold down. This is going to be the movement where we sit back and we strike in toward the abdomen. So we step around, we strike down, and then we come up and we claw. We then do 4 chops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we elbow and then we move straight out into the next bit. But the main essence of the WuDang axe is set within the lion form, and then you learn it to then take it out and practice in this 2-man drill and then put it back in. So you learn all of the fighting applications and the body mechanics that will help you to generate power.